Already, 2018's been a pretty good year for RPGs. We had Monster Hunter World for fans of action combat, big boss fights, and grinding for badass loot. And then there's Kingdom Come Deliverance, if you like playing a regular guy who isn't really talented or interesting, and this is awkwardly realistic. Either way, it's been a pretty good year if you like RPGs, and it's just getting started. Here today, I'll be counting down my most anticipated top 5 new RPGs in 2018. First up on the list is Dauntless, a co-op action RPG that has you hunting monsters to make monster weapons out of monster parts.
Hello, it's me.
Get out of here! Okay, so this is basically Monster Hunter, but don't let that scare you away. They're really trying to do their own thing within the monster hunting parameters. All of the staples are there. You'll fight unique bosses with different attack patterns and stages. They'll weaken as you fight them, getting scarred and limping away, and there's a variety of weapons with different movesets and damage types, and the gear that you craft is made from the parts of the bosses you fight. So what's different? Well, they're going for a bit of a cartoony, over-the-top design with the attacks and weapons, armors, and bosses that are called behemoths, and everything seems to be a bit exaggerated and almost kind of sci-fi. Fights will take place on procedurally generated floating islands with a variety of different environments like forest, tundra, desert, and more. There'll be seasonal events, daily challenges, hunt modifiers, and destructible environments. Also, the game is free to play. I'm really not trying to come down hard on this game just because it's similar to Monster Hunter. Look, every game on this list is similar to something else. It's just the timing couldn't be worse. Monster Hunter World just came out. It was insanely successful. Now, that could be a good thing because maybe more people are going to be looking for a Monster Hunter style game. So I hope they stick to their own unique vision and their own direction and can make something interesting out of Dauntless. And again, it's free to play, so that helps. The second game on today's list is Vampyr. Set during 1918 in a flu-ravaged London, you play as a newly turned vampire, Dr. Jonathan Reed. As a doctor, you must find a cure to save the city, but as a vampire, you're cursed to feed on those you vowed to heal. Kind of a cheesy setup, but this looks pretty interesting. Being made by Don't Nod Entertainment, developers of Remember Me and Life is Strange, this game is oozing with atmosphere. They've built a very creepy and grim setting in their rendition of London. This is a single-player, story-driven RPG where you'll have to make important decisions, not only in conversation, but also who you choose to kill. Hunting the creeps who walk around in the middle of the night? Yeah, you'll get some power, but only a fraction of that you could have gotten from the pure-blooded daytime folk. It's not all roleplay and sucking blood though. You'll be doing plenty of fighting, fending off vampire hunters, undead skulls, and other supernatural creatures. And since you're a vampire, you have unholy powers at your disposal, like teleportation, force chokes, and mind control. I'm really digging the look of this game, and it kind of brings me back to my childhood. You know, when I was a kid, we had tons of vampire games. I mean, loads of them. But recently, we haven't seen so many. I mean, I don't know when vampires became uncool.
You're beautiful. Beautiful. This is the skin of a killer, Bill.
Oh, right. Yeah, well. Next on the list is Darksiders III, the third installment in the Darksiders series. Duh. Earth has been overrun by the 7 deadly sins and the mythical creatures that serve them. This time, you play as Fury, described as the most unpredictable and enigmatic of the 4 horsemen. Fury is a mage who relies on her whip and magic to restore the balance between good and evil. The Charred Council calls upon Fury to fight back the sins and prove that she is the most powerful of the horsemen. Although I'm guessing that since this is Darksiders 3 and there's 4 horsemen, she's probably not the most powerful one. We don't know too much about the game, just a couple of teaser trailers and story blurbs, but it's another Darksiders, so we can assume it's going to have a lot of the same features and mechanics. I really liked the first Darksiders. It's this cool mix of action combat and puzzle solving, almost like a Zelda type of game. You go through massive dungeons, fighting enemies, solving puzzles, and defeating bosses to unlock new tools, mechanics, and weapons. While we don't know too much about Darksiders 3, it'll probably have a lot of that stuff in it. Moving on is Call of Cthulhu, an RPG investigation game that blends psychological horror with stealth mechanics. Based on the popular pen and paper game of the same name, you play as Edward Pierce, a former war veteran and private investigator in 1920s Boston. Your mission is to uncover the truth behind the mysterious death of an acclaimed local artist. Now, this is not an action RPG. You'll be walking around, finding clues, talking to NPCs, and solving a mystery, all while Cthulhu chases your passed down. The game promises to deliver rich, open exploration full of deep dialogue with meaningful choices that impact the narrative. A lot of the games on this list are all about the action, but this one kind of about the process. You're gonna be walking around, solving puzzles, uncovering the mystery, but it's really the setting and kind of the Cthulhu mythos that will draw me to this game. Typically, the slower paced games kind of put me to sleep, but this one looks like it could be interesting. And the final game on today's list is Biomutant, an open world kung fu action RPG where you play as this adorable raccoon squirrel panda looking thing. The game features a martial arts style combat system aimed at delivering freedom of movement while mixing shooting, melee, and mutant power abilities. Just check this out. You can do your kung fu, glide around like a flying squirrel, climb walls, shoot baddies in a mech hand vehicle thingy, give them a pow, a bang, and a boing. This game looks sick. It's teeming with character and personality, and based on the trailers we've seen, this is an interesting looking world that I can't wait to explore. It's got cool looking combat, open world exploration, character customization, crafting, puzzle solving, dialogue, vehicles, boss fights. So long as it doesn't play like garbage, this could be a winner. I really like games that kind of go for their own thing, and this has got a really unique looking aesthetic. The character, the environment, the enemies, it's doing its own little thing in its own little world, and I really like that. I'd like to give a special mention to Code Vein, Edge of Eternity, and Greedfall, also RPGs coming out this year that are looking pretty interesting. Now, you might have noticed a distinct lack of Anthem, and that's because it got pushed back to 2019, hopefully so that BioWare can make it a better game, not riddled with microtransactions. Otherwise, it would have been on the list. And that's pretty much gonna do it for my 5 most anticipated RPGs of 2018. I think we got a nice mix here. We got the action combat, we got the discovery and the exploration and the role playing, which isn't really in a lot of RPGs nowadays. It's kind of a generic term that's slapped onto almost every game. But again, I think we got a pretty good list here. I'm a little biased though. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.